Mark Cuban, the outspoken billionaire entrepreneur, television personality, and owner of the Dallas Mavericks, made headlines when he delivered a stunning and highly publicized takedown of President-elect Donald Trump during a live television interview. Cuban, known for his sharp wit, business acumen, and unapologetically candid persona, seized the moment with an unwavering tenacity that electrified the political and media landscapes. The exchange was more than just a clash of egos or political ideologies. It was a raw, unscripted confrontation that underscored deep concerns about the trajectory of American leadership under Trump's presidency. Cuban's takedown resonated powerfully, not only because of its scathing critique, but because of the broader implications it carried for a deeply divided nation. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. The live interview began as most political discussions do, with Cuban maintaining his trademark calm and composed demeanor. But it didn't take long before the conversation escalated into a fiery and unforgettable moment. Cuban's critique was surgical, methodically addressing Trump's qualifications, leadership style, and approach to both business and governance. What made the moment even more impactful was Cuban's ability to remain articulate and factual while his frustrations simmered just beneath the surface. Unlike many of Trump's critics, Cuban did not rely on vague assertions or hyperbolic attacks. Instead, he methodically deconstructed Trump's record, highlighting inconsistencies, failures, and rhetoric that many had brushed aside during the heated election cycle. It was not merely a rebuke of Trump the man, but of what he symbolized as a political figure and leader. One of Cuban's most effective tactics in this televised clash was his willingness to speak to Trump's persona as a businessman. As someone who built his empire from the ground up, Cuban understood the business world in ways few others could. Trump, who had campaigned heavily on his success as a businessman and dealmaker, suddenly found himself vulnerable to Cuban's well-aimed critiques. Cuban referenced Trump's numerous bankruptcies, questionable business decisions, and reliance on inherited wealth to paint a far less flattering picture of his economic expertise. The contrast was striking. Cuban represented the self-made entrepreneur who adapted to markets, built businesses through innovation, and overcame adversity, while Trump was painted as a figure who, despite his branding, lacked the same entrepreneurial spirit and strategic prowess. Cuban's argument carried weight because it came from a place of credibility. As a billionaire who thrived in competitive environments, he dismantled Trump's carefully constructed narrative piece by piece. Beyond Trump's business record, Cuban delved into deeper issues surrounding character and integrity. He emphasized the importance of accountability, a trait Cuban believed Trump had repeatedly shirked throughout his career and during the presidential campaign. Cuban highlighted instances where Trump's words contradicted his actions, where promises made on the campaign trail seemed detached from practical realities, and where impulsive rhetoric undermined public trust. The billionaire's ability to keep the focus on accountability was crucial in this televised takedown. Rather than resorting to personal insults, Cuban framed the conversation around leadership qualities, raising the question of whether Trump possessed the temperament and discipline required to lead a country as complex and dynamic as the United States. Cuban's takedown also served as a reflection of the concerns many Americans felt, but struggled to articulate. By pointing to Trump's public behavior, Cuban brought attention to the broader implications of normalizing certain patterns of conduct among leaders. He questioned the precedent Trump's rise had set for future candidates, suggesting that charisma and sound bites had taken precedence over experience and substance. For Cuban, the issue was not merely political, it was cultural. He painted a picture of a society where leadership was increasingly defined by theatrics rather than results, where optics overshadowed accountability, and where promises were no longer tied to real-world execution. It was a sobering critique that struck a chord with viewers who had grown weary of political polarization and longed for a return to pragmatic leadership. Throughout the interview, Cuban's tone and delivery added to the gravity of the moment. He was neither bombastic nor dismissive, choosing instead to project a sense of genuine concern. There was a clarity in his words that cut through the noise of partisan politics. He spoke as someone who understood the stakes, not just for business or politics, but for the broader future of the nation. Cuban's frustration felt relatable and deeply human, a sentiment that resonated with those who were still grappling with Trump's unexpected electoral victory. His words were sharp, but not malicious, calculated but not rehearsed, and passionate without veering into hysteria. In short, it was a masterclass in persuasive communication. The implications of this televised clash were significant, extending far beyond the boundaries of the interview itself. Cuban's words served as a rallying cry for those who believed in holding leaders accountable and challenging narratives that seemed disconnected from reality. His critique also demonstrated the power of public figures to use their platforms for meaningful discourse. Cuban, who had already built a reputation for his forthright opinions, emerged as one of Trump's most vocal and credible critics. His background as a successful entrepreneur gave him a unique vantage point from which to challenge Trump's narrative, and his visibility ensured that his words would reverberate across media channels and social networks. The confrontation also marked a turning point in how celebrity figures engaged with politics. Cuban's appearance was not that of a traditional political commentator, but of someone who represented a new breed of influencers capable of shaping public opinion. His willingness to challenge Trump directly on live television set him apart from others who had either remained silent or softened their critiques to avoid alienating certain demographics. Cuban's boldness highlighted the evolving role of public figures in shaping conversations about leadership, governance, and the future of democracy. He demonstrated that influence could be used not merely for entertainment or profit, but to push back against narratives that he believed were damaging to the country. For Trump, the moment was significant as well. Cuban's words struck at the heart of Trump's public image, which had been carefully cultivated over decades of media appearances, business ventures, and branding exercises. Cuban's refusal to accept Trump's persona at face value revealed cracks in a facade that many supporters viewed as unshakable. It was a reminder that Trump's ascent was not immune to scrutiny, particularly from individuals who possessed the credibility and platform to challenge his claims directly. While Trump had built his campaign on defying political norms, Cuban's takedown proved that accountability was still possible, even in an era dominated by sensationalism and polarization. In addition to its immediate impact, the confrontation raised broader questions about the role of wealth, power, and influence in American society. Cuban and Trump, both billionaires, represented two very different approaches to success and leadership. Cuban embodied the idea of transparency, adaptability, and hard-earned achievements, while Trump's approach was more polarizing, marked by bold promises and a larger-than-life persona. The live interview served as a microcosm of a larger cultural clash, one that forced viewers to reflect on what qualities they valued most in their leaders. Was leadership about showmanship and branding, or was it about results, accountability, and substance? Cuban's critique brought these questions to the forefront, sparking a conversation that extended far beyond the television screen. What made this moment so unforgettable was its unscripted nature. Unlike carefully curated campaign speeches or rehearsed debates, Cuban's takedown was raw, authentic, and undeniably powerful. It was the kind of moment that could only happen in the unfiltered environment of live television, where every word carried weight and every pause added tension. The authenticity of the exchange was part of what made it so compelling. Cuban spoke not as a politician, but as a concerned citizen, a successful entrepreneur, and someone who understood the responsibility that came with leadership. He embodied the frustration and urgency that many viewers felt but had been unable to express. The event also underscored the growing influence of media as a platform for holding leaders accountable. Cuban's appearance demonstrated the power of live television to expose truths, challenge narratives, and force conversations that might otherwise have been ignored. In an era where media outlets were often accused of amplifying divisive rhetoric, this moment stood out as a reminder of the media's potential to serve as a check on power. Cuban's willingness to speak candidly and critically set a precedent for how public figures could use their platforms to engage in meaningful political discourse. It was a moment that felt both significant and necessary, a reminder of the importance of truth, accountability, and the courage to speak out. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Mark Cuban's comments about Trump? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.